Harsh economic realities have started to take a great toll on Nigerians as hunger, starvation, lack of money, and hike in prices of food items and other commodities is beginning to make life unbearable for Nigerians across the country. The government has made several promises aimed at cushioning the effect of the harsh economy on the people, but none has been seen to be real, as all the promises are still in the pipeline according to the government, while the people continue to wallow in abject poverty and suffering. However, on the platform this morning, we will be extracting the effect of harsh economic policies of federal government and the best way to make things easy for Nigerians as to avert a possible mass protest and civil unrest, which so many people have said will happen very soon. Well, we will look at that. I'm sure you have your own story to tell as regards the issue we are facing. That's the harsh economy in Nigeria. Welcome. This is the platform, the pinnacle of all discussion. My name is Ginika Oluwaha. This is what we do every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Friday here on the platform, the pinnacle of all discussion. Let's pause now to bring you the political update. When we come back, my guests are already seated. You'll meet them shortly. Stay with us. All right, welcome back to the program. It's still the platform, the pinnacle of all discussion. Thank you so much, Wisdom, for that update. Like I told you before we went on the break, we were looking at the harsh economy as we are facing them right now in the country, in the state, everywhere in Nigeria. People are crying. If you have been following development, you would have seen a series of protests everywhere across the country saying that there is hunger in the land. Even the president himself has actually accepted the fact that there is hunger in the land. But how are we going to address this particular problem? Because it's really a problem in Nigeria and we must have to face it squarely and address it. Well, that's the focus of today's edition of the program, the platform, the pinnacle of all discussion. My name is Ginika Oluwaha once again. Now, joining me virtually to talk about this is Chief Agu Ojukwu, a strategic management and organization development consultant. He is also a change agent and erstwhile chief economic advisor to Abia State government. Chief, good morning. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Should I say Happy New Year now?
Yeah, thank you. Happy New Year to you too, and thanks for having me.
All right. And also here in the studio is a public affairs analyst, a journalist, a seasoned journalist at that, Comrade Chika Nŵabueze. Comrade, good morning. Thank you so much for making a return.
Thank you so much, Ginika. You know, you have kept me off the platform for a while while we face the newspaper headline. Good morning, everybody. Good listen. Agu Ojukwu, I greet you specially.
Thank you very much, Chika.
All right. Okay, welcome, gentlemen. Now, I think I should start with you, Chief. You've seen what is happening in Nigeria. People are crying everywhere that there's hunger in the land. People cannot, afford some things which they used to do in the past. How or where can we trace the beginning of this economic crisis we are experiencing presently in the country? Is it with the removal of fuel subsidy or floating of the naira? Where exactly can we trace what we are experiencing economically in Nigeria right now?
Okay, we can trace. First of all, I am happy that the man with you in the studio there is Chika. Call him the great journalist, Chika Nŵabueze. Chika interviewed me sometime in 2008, where I announced that the Nigerian economy is not structured to survive because it doesn't have a foundation. 2008. What we are suffering now are the consequences of the failure of successive governments to develop the economy. And this thing started like your question asked. This started after the Nigerian Civil War. And I want you to quote me clearly.
Okay.
Since the Nigerian Civil War ended, no successive government ever tackled the economy as a system until today. Most people, or the economy has been surviving based on the struggle, the toil, the bravado of businessmen and so on, who weather the storm anyhow. It is difficult to go around the country and show any farmer or any industry that is surviving as a result of an organized government program that was set up to drive that industry. You can't see it. because they are not non-existent.
So the
problem didn't start. It didn't start with MFLA. It didn't start here. It's just that every government that comes in deepens the problem because they fail to apply the brakes and reverse the course.
Okay. So you are saying that what we are experiencing, obviously now in Nigeria, is lack of proper structuring of the economic policies we have. Is that correct?
The most critical element for economic development, for industrialization, is what we call public industry development program. We had it during the time of Okpara. We have never had it again. We had it during the time of Awolowo. We have never had it again. We had it during the time of Sadwana. We have never had it again. People just wake up and they choose something to do. But you will see that there is no foundation in what they are put together to do. Okay. I'll give you an example. You may have heard about the Green Revolution, the Operation Feed the Nation. Yeah. These are beautiful titles, but bad merchandise. We call them beautiful titles because when you hear their title, you will expect that something great will happen because of their title, Green Revolution, Operation Feed the Nation. But when you go to the document, you will see that the details of how the program will succeed as a system is not there. They simply tell you that government will embark on a food production program. The chairmanship of the program will rotate from state to state, local government to local government, and so on. But you will not see how the program will deliver benefits to society. It's never there. So that makes those programs unimplementable and useless. So, and Nigerians will always tell you that, oh, we're in a learning process. No, please, we have not been learning. The country has not been learning. Because learning is a situation where you do something today. When you appraise your outcome, the outcome and impact of the program, you improve on it. That is learning. Learning comes for continuous improvement. But when you are not improving on anything and you simply say, oh, we're learning, we're in a learning process, it's not a learning process.
So you are saying that Nigeria is actually not improving in terms of their economic policies, Chief?
Yes. Okay. Nigeria has not been doing so. Okay. And I can assure you, as a strategist, as somebody who has been involved in organization development for a long, long time, I am happy that I'm one of the people in this country who have written the greatest number of business plans for investors than anyone else. And most of the people that pass through me, their projects have gone PLC today. Okay. Unfortunately, what people keep doing, what government keeps doing, I mean government in general, I am happy now that at least in Abia State, at least we now have a governor that we expect will become the turning point in what has been going on. So we're expecting that turning point to happen. So now, if you look at, we said our success is measured in succession. If a president leaves office and things immediately get worse, it means that the previous one didn't have a foundation on which the new one can build. What has been going on in the country is that somebody comes into office, he uses his common sense, he tries to do what he likes and so on. Then the next person comes, he's not able to carry on with it, or there's no foundation. That means we've been working on quicksand. We've been doing programs on quicksand. In India and Israel, governments change almost every 6 months, 7 months, 1 year, 2 years. Government change, but economic programs remain on course because they're not determined by the political class. They are determined by the professional system that ensures that these things keep running, no matter who becomes president or whatever.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. We'll still come to that so that you tell us what should be done so we can reverse this. But we'll get to that. Let me come to Chika right now. Chika, you heard what Chief Agu Ojukwu has said. He has succinctly put it there. You know, and I don't know if you agree with him or you want to differ in some of the submissions he has made already, especially when he said, we do not have the structure to drive the economy or the economic policies of this. It appears that we do not have a template. It just everybody comes, you go, and the next person, no continuity, nobody to push what the first person has started. Do you agree to that?
Well, to a very large extent, I quite align myself with the submission of Chief Agu Ojukwu. Of course, you know, he's a development economic strategist. He's into development, expert. So he's an authority on that. But this time again, I believe it's not time for theory. We now want to see practical, aspect of it. Practical things to be done to see how we can come out of the woods. He said something I want to differ. He said successive government, a president leaves office and a new one comes up and things get worse. Yeah. That implies that the ex-president, the predecessor, did not leave any good foundation for the new one to take off from. Yeah. I think to a large extent I would disagree with Agu Ojukwu, because if you have offered yourself, for an elective position, it means that you have been able to follow, the policies of the former administration, and you have seen where they got it wrong. That when you are coming with a fresh idea, with new vitality, with new focus, which you are going to apply to make things get better. And for the point you met it, you take it to a higher level. So that is why when they say Buhari, I was listening to one Omokri who was blaming Buhari. Why should you blame Buhari? When President Tinubu offered himself and he got elected, and he promised he was going to do this, that the economy is going to...
And he knew what the economy
was doing then. So why would you come and you start making excuses that because the economy was battered, that's why... So this is not time of trading blames or making excuses. The Nigerian masses, we have suffered untold hardship. We have unemployment rate very high, over 40%. We have high cost of living. We have high cost of commodities, foodstuff. Food inflation is the highest. The latest MBS statistics, inflation is at over 30%. Yeah. Now, you have all these things. The unemployment is massive. The poor, the vulnerable, many people, we say extreme poverty, is more people have joined the poverty index. And we are looking, we are watching. Why is the government not doing anything to address the situation? They appear helpless. Now, you went, as you could never mention, why we are on this situation now, the floating of the naira and the removal of the subsidy. Yeah. These are the things that brought us to this situation now.
Chika.
Yes.
Chika.
I'm with you.
Hello.
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
remember the question you asked me?
Yeah.
He said that I did not mention the removal of the fuel subsidy and so on. I couldn't have mentioned everything immediately. Okay. I am following your question.
Yeah, okay. I agree. I agree.
And I could not have jumped to this and that.
Okay.
But let me tell you. Listen very carefully.
Okay, go ahead.
In every economy, when we say that the reason Mr. President is called Your Excellency is because at their level, they are not allowed to make avoidable mistakes because the life and death of people are in their hands. And anytime they want to do something, they are expected to use knowledge necessary for the improvement of practices, not knowledge that will damage the practices. And now in this country, when somebody offers himself for president, it is assumed that he will apply the brakes and start reversing the problem.
Yes.
But in this situation of this country, number one, the person before, people keep clapping, thinking that he's doing the right thing, simply because they cannot afford what we call bread and butter. They think he did well. When he leaves office, you see how hollow the previous person was. Which now, when the new person comes with his own bad knowledge, because our selection process of the president is also the biggest problem. It's like when you're selecting somebody to be managing director of a company, and people are selected by emotions and so on, and they expect magic. But even if somebody becomes president, you are not expected to be the expert, but you're expected to know the process by which you can select the people who will actually cause the changes.
Okay.
These things are missing in this country. And whether we like it or not, go back and check. Since the Civil War ended, every government comes in at a certain exchange rate. By the time they are leaving, it has gone up.
Yeah.
The next person comes in, by the time he's leaving, it has gone up. Another person comes in, by the time he's leaving, it has gone up. If the previous presidents worked well, you would have seen a situation where somebody came into office, applied the brakes, reversed the situation, and then there will be some improvement.
Okay.
But as long as that is not happening, it means that we're on a downward spiral, that if And I can assure you that the principles and knowledge required to stop this thing has not been applied. People keep talking about bravado. Oh, president has released the grain reserves and then he's going to share food to people. Even the 5 billion they gave to every state in the country, if you divide it by the population of Abia state, it will turn to 2 cups of rice. After eating the 2 cups of rice, what will happen next? Okay. Moreover, the problem happened in transportation and so on, and they are giving you palliative in something else. This is the serious matter we are talking about in this country. Okay. It's not a matter of what you will do now. Anytime you do not use the principles that work, which is actually where wisdom resides. Because we are using common sense. Everybody is talking about common sense. But there are principles that drive something. Okay. No matter how bad the situation is, you must look for the principle that will put you in the future. And then you look for the short-term measures you will do now.
All right. Okay. Chief, just hold on a bit. Let me come to you, Chika.
Yes.
Does it really bother you that up to this moment, this particular administration came into power, I think 9 months ago, up to this moment, the president does not have economic team. Those people that will advise the president, you know, the economic think tank, that will say, Mr. President, please do not float the naira. Mr. President, please do not remove the fuel subsidy. Mr. President, open the borders, let the food come in, or reduce the, you know, those that will be given the ideas. Up to this moment, we do not have it. The only thing we have are the governors, you know, that make up the National Economic which is, I don't know if all of them, some of them may not have, they don't even understand what the economy is all about.
Yes, that is why I say that economic development is not for all comers.
Okay, Chief, just hold on. Let me
answer the question you just asked me now.
Okay, go
remember what you just asked me now. You know, because the situation we are in is, we are actually suffering the consequences of failure to do prior things before now. And that is why if we do not change it even now, we'll be in trouble. People have been saying government should do this, what is it called? Should not float the naira, should not do this and that and the other one. Quite all right, the president makes mistakes. Before you make any policy, it is expected that you have done the research, found out what will make something work, find out what will truncate it, put in place the measures that will cushion that effect so that the negative consequences will not happen before you take your action. But in this country, people take action before they start thinking, whereas you should have your strategic thinking before the action. That's the way it works. But we have put the cart before the horse. Okay. And the people keep applauding and say, oh, these are practical people. I heard Chika say that we are talking about practical things, practical things. Anytime you see somebody, people talk about practical without the design, that thing will never work. We saw a governor in Imo State, Rocha Sokorocha, building roads without design, expecting the roads to survive. Building roundabouts with blocks, just ordinary building blocks, which if a bicycle jams it, it breaks up. And then he tells you that he's a practical man, that he simply takes the contractor to the road and then the price. No. If you see what he's doing in Abia, you will see that the roads are designed. Look at what Julius Berger is doing on Port Harcourt Road. It is designed. And because it's designed, it will survive. So anything you are doing, and you are just doing practical things, sharing things to people, and so on, it will come to naught.
Okay.
This is economic principle, it's not guesswork.
All right. Okay, Chika, let me get your thoughts on the issue of economic team of the president, which is not in place up to this moment.
Yes, this is exactly what we passed through during the Buhari's time. Apart from the delay in forming his cabinet, it took almost 9 months, 1 year, before he could even do that. We're already in recession, and we started struggling. That is the beginning of our problem till date. Now, what stops Mr. President? You have prepared. Before you offer yourself, is believe you are prepared, you know, for the office which you want to assume. And by the time you assume office, we want to believe that you must have known that these are the necessary things that you have to put in place. Economic management team is very key. You know, forget all this Cardoso and the finance man and the
because it appears the thing is between the president and Cardoso.
And Cardoso, what is
the only one?
I think the only one. What is going on? You know, you brought people you ran Lagos State with. Lagos is not Nigeria, and you can see the difference. You made Lagos work. You did this. Lagos became a modern city. You made it. This is the new Lagos, and now you have taken over Nigeria, and we are on a free fall. So what can you decipher from that? It means that there is no template, there is no policy, no economic policy, no economic agenda to drive, you know, the administration.
Thank you for finally agreeing with what I've been saying.
Yes. So there should be an economic think tank made up of people without economy. In fact, people are saying that they should go and bring Obako Konjo-Iweala. Let her come and help. Because during their time, at least things were not as bad as this. People should have advised Mr. President by now. National Economic Council cannot be the economic thing. Because here, we are talking of governors. How many of them understands the economy? Ask me. Ask them now GDP. Ask them all these things. They will not know. Except they are told by their maybe.
Like what you have in Enugu. He's a lawyer. I think he's also a lawyer.
He's a lawyer.
And
so
all of them are members of economics.
Except in Abia where we have renowned economics. He understands.
And probably
Anambra. Who understands the numbers. So now, and Nigeria, the economy of Nigeria must be managed by somebody who understands the economy. And if you don't understand it, then there's nothing else you are going to do. You have to look for the capable hands who will help you do this. And Tinubu is not doing that. And he's relying on that his clique that ran Lagos State with to advise him. And we are in this mess today. We need to do something to come out of this economic quagmire.
Let's mind the breaks now. Chief and Chika, let's hold on a bit. Let's pay some bills. We'll go on a breather now. When we come back, we look at other issues. Take, for instance, the issue of transportation. The president said he has given the state governors 2 billion and they will get another 3 billion to make it 5 billion. Up to this moment, we've not heard much about that. And many people are saying, why don't you subsidize transportation? Because that's where the main problem is. That is where it's biting the people hard. But we'll talk about that when we come back. It's still the platform, the pinnacle of all discussion. We are looking at the economic policies of the federal government, which the people are actually complaining about. Stay with us. All right, welcome back to the program. It's still the platform, the pinnacle of all discussion, where we are looking at the economy of the of Nigeria and the policies of the federal government, which affecting the people badly. And everybody is saying there's hunger in the land. Please, the federal government, look at some of the policies you're coming up with. See if you can reverse some of them, especially the issue of subsidy on fuel. And see what you can do so that life can become meaningful for Nigerians once again. My guest is Chief Agu Ojukwu. He is a strategic management and organization development consultant and an erstwhile chief economic advisor to Abia state government. Welcome back to the program, Chief. And also Comrade Chika Nŵabueze, a public affairs analyst. Welcome back, gentlemen. Now, let me come to you, Chief. Let us now start talking realities, because all this while we've been sounding so technical and academic. You know, let us look at how it's biting the people. Take, for instance, when the federal government said they are going to give every state 5 billion naira. I think Abia state has received about 2 billion. I don't know if they have completed the 3 billion remaining, you know. And the state government said they are going to invest in transportation. Transportation is a major sector that the people, that's where people are suffering badly, because if you have removed fuel subsidy, of course, transport fare will go up. And one will be expecting to see some of the federal assisted mass transit everywhere that will help convey people and goods from point A to point B. And people are also saying, in agriculture, why don't you also plunge this money you've removed from subsidy to agriculture, and probably also put it in education so that people can afford education? Chief, what do you have to say about this? Because these are the areas that people need help.
Okay. First of all, there's a remark I would like to make before I come back to this. Remember that Nigerians complain under every government since the Civil War ended.
Don't you think
they complain under every government? Just a minute.
Don't you think
I will answer you now.
Don't you think
I will answer you. I want to lay the foundation of what I want to say.
Okay, go ahead.
So Nigerians complain under every government. And when a new government comes and becomes worse than the previous one, they will now say that the previous one was better. But they now forget that the previous one also didn't do the fundamental things that will cause change. That is why you saw in the past great reports where they said, oh, Obasanjo's fantastic team that couldn't cause change. Oh, Jonathan's fantastic team that couldn't cause change. They're all written in the newspapers. By this day, Guardian newspaper and so on, they're all there. You would have read in the past where you hear the World Bank say that the Nigerian government still does not have a direction. When some of us say it, people say, when I said it in 2008, it took the president, former prime minister of Ireland, to say yes, that I'm right, that up to today, Nigerian government does not have a direction, an economic direction. So, having said that, let's go to what we need to do. Now, when you have problems, first of all, when a country is in difficulties, you don't assume what you think the problem is, because most problems are problems caused by prior problems that were not taken care of. Then they cross over and cause another problem. Then when we keep tackling, it's like when somebody has malaria, he has a bitter tongue, he has a body weakness, he has headache. If you keep licking sweets for a sweet mouth, and they keep taking paracetamol to get out of the fever and so on, you will not get well until you take camoquine, the foundation medicine for that malaria, and it will knock off all these things. Because everybody knows about symptoms, but they don't know the actual problem, what it is. That is why in development, we don't go for the symptoms, we go for the actual cause, the actual problem, and then the cause of the problem. So, if we want to improve what we have now, we have a dire situation. We can go for immediate agricultural productivity, improved productivity, even without planting our crops, even without increasing the planting of our crops. We can go for immediate productivity, agricultural productivity. Remember, many people do not know this. Most of the crops we have, we are only tapping 10% or 20% of the potentials of those crops. Our economy is not networked, so the waste from one agriculture cannot be used for the production of another thing. If our economy was networked, you can take the bran from the rice, take the palm kernel cake, take the other one and mix it, and you have feed for your poultry. Chicken is very expensive because there's no feed, and the material for feed are being wasted everywhere in the country. Yeah. Because we are using processes that will not recover that waste that is required for making the feed. So instead we go and import. That is what is going on. The rice we eat in Nigeria, made in Thailand. Thailand does not use power from the national grid to make their rice. They do not use generators to drive their factories to make their rice. Thailand uses the husk, the waste husk from the rice to generate their own electricity in-house and use that electricity to produce that rice. So as you in Nigeria, you are buying diesel, wasting the money, throwing the husk away and wasting the husk. Thailand is saving all that money, so they can beat you at the shop floor. That is why the job of government is to increase industrial competitiveness. It is the job of government to come up with what will make investors jump into a program, follow the program, and be internationally competitive. Okay. Those things are missing. Okay. So if you don't take our crop, for instance, maize is something everybody knows. Incidentally, somebody in Abia State is doing maize in Enugu. Michael Okpara's son. Michael Okpara's son is doing maize. Maize has 5 ingredients, but we're wasting the whole thing to produce only a cup. How many people know that inside one maize, you have material for making beer, you have material for making cornflakes, you have material for semolina, you have material, and then the least item in that maize is for making pap. But we grind the whole maize just to get the material for pap, and we waste the rest. Even the garri we produce, because it's not industrial, we're not able to extract the starch that comes out of the garri. It's wasted. So that is why we must network our economy, and then we must go for industrial systems that allows you to recover the full potentials of your crop. I'm not saying that we must build giant plants, no. I'm saying that anything we do, let it not be the rural system. You even see the World Bank, they come to Nigeria and say, oh, the people need oil meal. They go and give them a primitive system of producing oil meal. The factory are built in 1991, generates its own electricity, I knew that NEPA will never come to my village. I've been generating my own electricity since I built that factory in 1991 till today. And it's as a result of what I've been doing in it. The government has now said, the United Nations, ECOWAS and Co. have now said that this is the only way to provide power in the rural areas. And I'm happy to announce that we have a program now, nationwide program, to build these plants in every local government in Nigeria.
Okay, Chief, I think you can meet our marketing department and talk about this, so that people will benefit. But Chika, let me come back to you now. Okay. The issue of closure of borders, it has been another issue, and everybody is saying, please open up the borders, let the food come in, and so we can as well move our own. What should government do in this regard?
Okay, yeah, it was at Muhammadu Buhari, don't forget, that said he want to encourage local production of food, of rice, of maize, beans. Therefore, that we should bear with the government that the borders are going to be shut. Well, we said, okay, if that will make us to be self-sufficient in food production, why not? Let's try. But then, before such policies are implemented, before such decisions are taken, you should be able to know, through data collections, what is the volume? How many tons of rice can Nigeria produce? How many tons of rice does Nigeria consume? So and XYZ say, okay, we should be able to. Because once the demand outweighs supply, then we are bound to have scarcity, and then these are the inflation. Then he did that. Now, what was the resultant effect? There were local production. But the prices of the locally produced rice was also chasing the foreign ones they smuggled in. Exactly. Because the smugglers now flourished. Because there was no way the closure of the border stopped all these things. They smuggled. And the Nigerian authorities, the custom, some of them, bad eggs, they were smuggling this thing. And then it made nonsense of all the whole effort of promoting local production. And even the local producers, they didn't help us because they were fixing their prices, with dollar rate. Why should you fix it with dollar rate? Since we say we want to encourage local production, and now we have come to this situation, very dear economic situation of food scarcity, leading to protests in some states, in Niger states, in Kano states, in Oyo, some southern states, Suleja, there have been protests over the rising cost of food items. What should the government do? Now the economic management too should come up, should rise to the occasion and do the needful. What stops? We know Benin Republic is here. Enough rice. Why don't you at least open the borders?
And they are direct neighbors.
Direct neighbors. Yeah. So that could be cross-border trading. If we flood Nigeria with rice, definitely the price will crash.
Exactly.
This is economics 101. Go and read it. The price will crash. Once supply outweighs demand, prices will crash. I don't know what they are gaining. I don't know the kind of leadership. Listen, let me tell us. We have to be careful now. The Sultan of Sokoto, the Catholic bishops, they have warned of imminent revolt. Let us not forget about the Arab Spring of 2011.
That's how it started.
That led four governments fell, following the Arab Spring. What caused it? It started in Tunisia. One Mohammed, he couldn't find job. Unemployment rate, very high in Nigeria. Food prices, very high. He couldn't find job. He was hawking. And then just what is happening, and all of a sudden he doused himself with gasoline and set himself on fire. And that is the climax of what resulted to the Arab Spring. I think Nigeria, we are getting to that point, and the government really have to sit up.
Now, Chika, I want to ask, is it possible for us to sell this our oil? Because that's the only thing. Is it possible for us to sell this our oil in Naira, at least to help the
yes, I think they are proposing joining the BRICS nations. That is the economic bloc known as the BRICS. That's Brazil, Russia, India, the other one, South Africa. Okay. All of them. They said if we join them, then we can now negotiate and find a way to be selling our oil in Naira. But I don't know how feasible. The other time they say we are going to do an alliance with China and we now adopt Chinese this thing to be using. I don't know why. The problem is that we are solely dependent on importation of finished goods and exportation of crude oil. This is what is killing us. We sell our crude oil and then we import PMS. Dangote refineries, we are still waiting. But Agu refineries, I don't know the situation. They said the turnaround has completed.
60%.
60%. But where is it? We are not feeling the impact. Now, the government fuel subsidy is gone. What have you done? You talked about the palliatives, the CNG buses, mass transit system. You talked about students' grants. We have not seen any. So what is happening? You are saving money, trillions. Now you state governments are getting more money. To do what? People are suffering. And you say state governments are getting more money. Some of them, they get the money, they go and buy foreign currency. 25% of it they used to acquire for and hoard. These are things that are contributed to putting pressure on the naira. So the government should rise to the occasion. Let the borders, let them consider opening the borders. The other time they say they have lifted the ban on giving forest to certain items. Let them provide forest. If they had managed this even the way we met it in 2015, stopped this removal of subsidy, stop this floating of the naira, you should be able to manage the floating of the naira, not to leave it to float in this manner. They have done it, and everybody is in great difficulty. Things are tough, really tough. So if it is possible, let them reverse it, find a way. Otherwise, you bring subsidy in other areas, in education, in health. Find a way to do something in transportation. These are the things the masses will benefit. You don't tell us the governors are getting more money. What are they doing with the money? Yes, you are building roads. Is it not human beings that will drive on the roads?
Okay, Chief, let me come to you. Hold on, Chief. Initially you said that any government that comes on board, Nigerians will complain. Is it not obvious that Nigerians complain because none of these governments have been able to live up to the expectation? Take, for instance, what Chika just said. The present government promised CNG buses, we've not seen any, and so many other promises. The student grant, we've not seen any.
No.
And is it that when you make promise as a government and you don't keep to it, people should be clapping for you? Won't they complain, Chief?
Please, I don't want you to quote me out of context, because I never said that.
Okay.
I said that Nigerians forget, both of you in the studio there, you have forgotten that people complain under every government. And because people complain under every government, it means that the fundamental things have not been done.
Okay.
That is why a new government comes, it gets worse. Another one comes, it gets worse. And then when we talk about this thing, Chika just said now that if we throw the borders open, rice will come in. When supply outweighs the production, demand, price will crash. But you people forget that the essence of local production is actually to make that food available in your country and at a cheaper rate than the foreign one. The mistake we have been making in this country is that government tells people to go and do agriculture, and then the same government fails to support them to do the agriculture in a high performance way, in a way that they will achieve much higher productivity, that will reduce the cost and increase the output. That is what is missing.
Okay.
It's not a matter of just once you open your border and say bring in rice, you will pay for it with foreign exchange, and you don't have it. Meanwhile, farmers are willing and able to plant. Do you know that this last year, me and my team, we planted a lot of rice. We were probably the second largest rice farmers this last year. Do you know that you have to pass through other people's farms and trek like 4 kilometers to go and carry your own material in your head and then bring it outside? You carry several times before you can get to where bike will carry your bag one by one. Do you know what cost it is? Do you know that all over the world, agriculture is funded as a government service? It's only in Nigeria where government tells you to go and do agriculture. Do you know that before the war, when my parents planted palm trees, that majority of the inputs came from government, from Opera, as a government service? We are not doing fundamental things, and we are expecting great results.
Okay.
Food can be everywhere. Farmers are able. Do you know that many farmers don't even have access to finance? You don't know that. If you know this thing is not, we're not playing to the gallery. What I'm saying is, I said Nigerians will continue, because these things are going to get worse. If any government that comes in power fails to apply the brakes and start doing the fundamental things that will reverse the situation, otherwise we'll continue on this spiral. Government must fund agriculture as a government service.
Yes,
government must have programs that increase agricultural productivity.
We agree.
Otherwise, it will get worse.
Okay. I think we should just leave it at that. Let me sincerely thank you, the Strategic Management and Organization Development Consultant, and that's why Chief Economic Advisor to Abia State Government, Chief Agu Ojukwu. Thank you so much for speaking with us on the platform. We really appreciate your input. Thank you. Okay. I think Chief Ojukwu is gone there. I think it's time for us to open the phone lines so that our listener can also be part of this discussion. The numbers to call are 080-8182-6949 or 08116052949. You can also send your SMS of 090-651-08289. This is the platform, the pinnacle of all discussion. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Chika.
Good morning to you.
I'm calling from Umuahia.
Okay, go ahead.
My brother, we don't need to blow enough grammar. You can never separate governance from the economy. Neither can you separate the economy from governance. The truth is that we have suffered colossal leadership failure. Leadership has been the major challenge we have, and that is why we suffer in the midst of plenty. Can you imagine that Nigeria has enough resources like crude oil, but we prefer to import refined oil than to get our refineries fixed in order to have our crude being refined in Nigeria? What kind of government is that? What kind of leaders are that? And let me tell you, on removal of fuel subsidy, you know, we copy everything, and we want to go to Nigeria to the Western world. But we forget that these people use our resources to furbish their own nation. We are clapping for removal of subsidy. They subsidize almost everything for their citizens. Out there, make inquiry and find out.
Okay, thank you.
I think if we don't address corruption, if we don't address insecurity, and if we don't address the issue that has to do with regulating the market, the problem will still persist. But God will help us to get leaders who are focused to tackle these problems.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for speaking with us there. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Ginika.
Good morning. Welcome. Is that Prince Will?
Yeah, good morning. Yes, it's Prince Will, yes.
Okay. Welcome.
Happy New Week to all of you in the studio.
Same here.
Thank you.
There's no way, to me, there's no way a consuming nation like Nigeria should expect a good thing because we overlooked productivity. There's no way you can plant a maize in your farm and expect to cultivate a yam. Nigeria is the only country in the entire universe that imports what it has and exports what it doesn't have. We should change our mentality. We should change our orientation towards productivity in Nigeria. Nigeria is the only country in the West Africa that has not conducted its population for almost 16 years. How do you expect a new thing to happen? There's no way our president, Tinubu, should make a magic because the paths ahead of him is quite numerous. And for him to do it, my brother, he should step on toes. And stepping on these toes doesn't mean that he should kill us. He should know that most of the utilities shouldn't be removed.
Okay.
All right. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you so much, Prince Will, for your contribution there. Hello. Good morning. Hello. Okay. 080-8182-6949 or 08116052949. Hello. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning, Mr. Ginika.
Good morning. Welcome.
Thank you. I greet you, Mr. Chika Nŵabueze.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you, sir. My name is Mr. Chijoke. I am calling from Abia.
Okay.
I just want to say that we should not struggle over this thing. We know our problem in Nigeria. We know our problem. And if you ask me, I will say that the major problem we have is just two. The major problem we have in Nigeria is just two. If you can tackle that two problem, we will start getting it right. What am I trying to say? On the issue of corruption, corruption is the major challenge we have in Nigeria, and we have never, talk about how to stop it because the people on top, 80% of them or 90% of them
are in the same shoe of corruption. Second one is insecurity. You cannot talk about how to have food in Nigeria without tackling security. Because go to Benue State, go to Taraba, go to Nasarawa. These are major places that supply Nigeria food. About Southeast. But let us just talk about North.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Chijoke, for your contribution there. Now to our Facebook page. This one is coming from Amanda Pearl. She said, we don't have standard economy here in Nigeria. Seriously, the masses are suffering a lot. Thank you so much, Pearl. Adiele Ambrose Casey said, good morning, Speaker. The economy of Nigeria has totally failed. We, the citizens at large, which is too bad as a nation. May God help us all. Okay, thank you so much, Adiele. Now, Chika, the issue is this. Ever since they removed that fuel subsidy, if you were the fact that they normally share amongst the state governors, they are receiving enough. I mean, the state governors. But it appears that the people and the state, they are not feeling the impact of this fuel subsidy removal. You know, because the federal government had decided to route it through the state government. But people are not feeling it.
That is the fact. That is the fact, the point we are making, that you remove the fuel subsidy, then which led to more revenue coming to the federation. Then more revenue comes, then you share more revenue to the treasures of government, and the governors are collecting huge amounts of money. In fact, the other day the presidency said yes that there's improvement in the money being shared to states. So if there are improvements now, what has it translated to? Has it translated to better life, better living conditions, for better welfare for the citizens? Anything that has not impacted positively on the life of the citizens means there's just nothing. So for us, instead of translating it to more revenue to state governors, more security vote to them, then let them find a way that those things will go straight direct to the people. Okay. And then we can say, yes, you have done something.
Okay, to our SMS line now, Kelechi Oba in Ikuano said, for me, people are going through a whole lot. It's so difficult for a common man in Nigeria to survive in this present economy. Things are really falling apart. May God help us in this country. Okay, thank you so much. This one is also coming from Onwaha Thompson, texting from Isialonga North. He said, we've not gotten it right ever since APC took over the mantle of leadership in Nigeria. NLC, in their own part, have failed to live up to the expectation. May God have mercy on Nigeria. I don't think this thing is about NLC now. It's about Nigeria as a whole. When you talk about NLC, Chika, you will know that it's only workers, and not everybody is a government. So this thing, the hunger now, is not beating, or rather dealing with the NLC right now. It's everybody. It's everybody
across all borders, all tribes, religion.
Everybody should start
APC, PDP, everybody now is
doesn't know where you belong. He doesn't know where you belong. I think we should just leave it at that. Let me sincerely thank you, seasoned journalist and also a public affairs analyst, Comrade Chika Nŵabueze. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ginika. Keep it up.
Thank you. And to all of you who called in and who sent in your SMS and your comments on our Facebook page, thank you so much. May God bless you. This show returns on Wednesday at 10 a.m. It is called The Platform, the pinnacle of all discussion. I'll see you again on Wednesday, God willing. Let's keep praying for Abia State and Nigeria to get better. Good morning.